welcome to NYU. We are really excited about this next panel presentation where we have one of our fantastic adjuncts, Jenny Fernandez is here, and she is going to work with her panel to talk a little bit more about job and internships. Jenny teaches an internship course that's very popular and really engages folks. And that's one thing that's kind of different about NYU is that we have a course that kind of helps you through and helps you explore deeper about your internship. So she's assembled this amazing panel of guests, and they're going to dive deeper into the job and internship search. Enjoy, and thank you.
Thank you
for everything you do for our students.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here today. Again, my name is Jenny Fernandez, and I just celebrated 8 years teaching here at IM&C. It's so exciting and thankful. So again, as discussed, we have an amazing panel, and I'm going to briefly set the stage, but I'll allow each one of them to introduce themselves and really just to share a little bit more about the internship and recruiting experience in general. So first I have here, oh gosh, sorry, excuse me, I just lost my little notes. Sorry, I'm gonna wait again. I don't have it. So I have here Diana Hinojosa. She is newly promoted, so SVP and partner. And she's coming from the HR recruiting side. So she's going to set the stage in terms of that perspective, right? So what is it that they're looking for? And to her right, or excuse me, to the left, I have here Zahn, who's also SVP at
VP of it's attraction and engagement, but it's recruiting
as well. And here we have also Evelyn, and Evelyn actually is coming from the client side, so the functional side. So she's going to kind of play the role of a hiring manager to really set the stage in terms of understanding what is it that they're looking for, and also newly promoted, and she's coming from the luxury industry. So I'll allow them again, each one of them to go deeper into their background to share with you so that you can have a context when you have the ability to ask questions later on today. So please go ahead.
Amazing. Well, hi everyone. So nice to meet you. I'm really excited to be here. As Jenny shared, my name is Diana Hinojosa. I am a partner at a company called LevelUP. We provide recruitment solutions across different industries like financial services, healthcare, nonprofit, technology, and I've worked in recruiting for a little bit of everything. I'm also a speaker on confidence and leadership, and I do some acting every now and then. And I will pass it over to Glenn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Glenn Zahn, and VP of Attraction. It's always kind of goofy. It's like, can't you tell? But recruiting and engagement. Before then, I owned and ran a recruiting firm in Tennessee for about 20 years, mainly for tech people and middle management. Before that, I sold computers.
Hi everyone, I'm Evelyn Hinojosa. I am a senior retail project manager at Christian Dior. I have a background in international trade for the fashion industry, and then recently became an architect. So marrying the two is how I have this current role, kind of the liaison between marketing, merchandising, and store design. So a little bit of both with starting my background in marketing.
Great, fantastic. So let's start at the beginning. So when you are looking at recruiting potentially, whether it's for the internship or full-time candidates, basically, what are some of the elements that you're looking for in that special candidate? How do you decide, who is that right fit?
I can speak for me right now. It's something that we always look forward to as a new season comes in for interns or also assistants is kind of your extracurriculars, like what do you do outside of your free time? What are you interested in? And that really shows us your character and your traits, because if you come on a team that's already structured, we will train you. We will train you to everything that you need to learn and how do you navigate within a team. But the knowledge and the tenacity that you bring, I think that really shows in what your extracurricular activities are. If you like something that's structured, if you like running, if you learn a new language, it just shows us your train of thought and how you love to learn and how you may apply that also and contribute to the team. You always want to show something that you're a little bit different. Because especially for larger brands, we're always learning and navigating, adjusting. I think the main term we add now in our descriptions is like someone who's adaptable and flexible. So that also comes with your experience and your interest in life.
Fantastic, thank you. Anything else to add?
I'm a little different and, well, it depends on what kind of role. So if you're interested in a role that has a lot of specific tech skills and you have, very specific tech skills and so you're looking for a match. But in the jobs like what you're talking about, where the company is hiring people that are fresh and trainable, teachable, and most people in here are in marketing or PR. To start things off, and we could talk about the interview itself, but to start things off is your resume. Your resume, the only point of your resume is to get an interview. That's it. And so your resume, especially for you guys, needs to be really sharp. It needs to be creative, different, so that it stands out. No mistakes, obviously, but just doing the standard, Microsoft Word resume formatted. Find one that is really cool and do something like that, or invent something, make something that's so that you stand out. The person looks at the resume and going, interesting, I dig it, let's bring him in, and then job's done.
I'm curious, how many of you here have previous work experience? Just by raise of hands. Okay, so a lot of you. I think adding to what Glenn said and what Evelyn said, your resume now is also LinkedIn. Your profile, having a good picture on there. I think it's I know when I at least was looking for positions, like LinkedIn wasn't my main source, but now every resume that we get for most positions, we look at LinkedIn, just how you look and if you look friendly or not. And then I think, depending on the type of role and the skills needed, just to share maybe more general advice about what could be a little bit more practical. It's about your interpersonal skills, like eye contact. How do you engage with the person you're meeting with? So I think it's looking at it from two different lenses. One is how do you get in the door? I think you get in the door through a great resume and a good LinkedIn polish and presence. And then two, once you're in the door, what are your interview skills around being flexible, adaptable, resourceful? Some of the questions I know that we ask, like just from what our clients have shared, is tell me about a time you overcame a challenge, right? They're looking to hear, how can you in any type of environment persevere or think outside of the box? Because obviously anyone who's interviewing you is looking at you as, do I want to work with this person? And I think you have to keep that in mind, that you're also interviewing them of, well, do I want to work with this person? And to do that, it's about like building that connection with the person you're interviewing with. So yeah.
Yeah.
I have one tip for LinkedIn. One great thing you can add to it are testimonials, people that say something good about you. The easiest way to get testimonials is to write one for somebody else, and then they'll return the favor.
Love that. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody follows me on LinkedIn, you'll see that I'm very, very active. And one of the first questions that I have for my students is, do you have a LinkedIn account? So I love that you all went there, because when the question was asked about how many people have work experience, half the class didn't raise their, or half the room didn't raise their hands. So we have sometimes students that may have limited experience, right? So what would you advise them, how to best position themselves when work is not something, past work experience is not something they can rely on?
Yeah, I think one, I would say mindset wise, like focus on what you can control. I know for me, when I was starting out, I was like, I have no experience. Like, how am I going to get my foot in the door if I don't know anyone, or if I don't know where to start? It's about accepting, like, okay, well, my first step is I need to build experience, and that you can do through multiple search engines. You can use Indeed, LinkedIn, family members. My first role actually came from my sister here, who I was looking for a position, and I started working through a temp agency I didn't really know what I wanted to do exactly, and my first role was at Revlon. I was a marketing creative assistant, but that came through me also sharing with people, I'm looking for a position, do you know of anything? So I think sometimes that directness, but focusing on getting those applications out, getting your LinkedIn polished so that when that opportunity comes, you're ready and available to it. And then also through LinkedIn, building your network with people that are hiring. I know sometimes depending on the role, they'll share like who the hiring manager is. So maybe you'll add them, engage in them, but I think that is like such a powerful tool right now, as well as the network that you already have. Like we all here have family members that are working in different industries. So seeing if maybe you can tap into that as well.
You bring up a good point. Maybe this is like too into the details, but there's also different ways to get into a full-time role. There's different types of roles. So it's, let's say you're just starting school, you're not quite sure if this is the position you want to go into and you want to learn. Starting at a contract role in like 3 months is something super popular nowadays. And it's also safe for you and safe for them. You get to try them out. Is this something that I like? Maybe I don't like. You tried it out and now you have a position in your resume. And you get to gain experience in those 3 months, network. So I also think that maybe your end goal is not to find the perfect role when you get out, but like something that you might be unsure of. It's your time. I know it's such a tough time right now, like in the world, but it is your time to play. And through that playing time, you do learn what you do and don't like. At the end of the day, the goal is to find something that's aligned with you, right? A job that makes you happy, you make the money that you like at the end of the day, and do something you wake up wanting to go into with purpose. So I think with that, allow yourself, I would say, to try to play a little bit. And if you can find like a contracted role, if it's not the perfect role in the beginning, that's still a check. You're still moving forward and you're still gaining experience. And there's so many recruiters and people in the industry that do hire for that. And you might have a bigger chance in getting a role in a contract role 6 months, they might extend it to a year. And then if you love it and they love you, you become full-time. I mean, that's what happened to me. I wasn't living in the country, I was living in Mexico, and then someone reached out to me to join the Dior team. I'm like, I don't know, let's see. They'll like no, they'll like me, and then like 2 years in, like it's changed so much. So
Yeah.
also my role. So I think give that a chance. I think that's a good way also to different way of thinking about these things, but the world of applying for jobs, like now you get paid sometimes for an internship. My time, we didn't at all. I volunteered so much just to get like a title in my resume, and it was a paper resume, it wasn't an online resume. So that would be like my advice too, and kind of to add on to the
Yeah.
search.
Yeah, I have one more thing. Diana was talking about networking. Especially in the city, there are lots of user groups, associations, get active in all of them. And then once you go to them and you start talking with people, ask for help. And I know a lot of people aren't really good at asking for help. I don't like asking for help. But if you ask somebody for help, most of the time people will trip over themselves to help you because you asked.
Yeah, and actually, how many people here are taking the internship class or have taken it? Oh, huge.
A lot of first year people here.
Oh, first year, okay. So, okay, great. So that's a class that allowed you to have the opportunity, right, to land that job and get some internship. I love that. I'm teaching that class now. And I have the full range from startups to somebody working in Oscar de la Renta. So there is that, right? So there's a lot of opportunity. So let me ask one question, because a lot has changed in the past 6 months. AI is both the sexy word and the word we fear. How do you think AI is potentially impacting the way we recruit or the skills that we're asking from our young entry-level folks?
I can speak a little bit to that. And AI tools look for keywords. They look for patterns on your resume, LinkedIn profile, however you get in contact with them. A lot of AI has turned into, like in big companies like IBM, they do algorithmic hiring. And what it is that you're sent a questionnaire and how you respond to that questionnaire is graded, and it's like anybody above a 75 per se gets an interview, and if you score 74, nothing. And what they're trying to do is automate more and more things so that it's like a scientific kind of recruiting. I think we could all agree that there are elements of recruiting that are scientific or technical, but it's still a person-to-person endeavor. You know, there's only so much a computer program can do before you have to talk to somebody. So I would make sure that on your resume you have all of the key words, the phrases that especially that are going to match the job description, because a lot of times it's a word match. And so when you look at the job description, the posting or whatever, and it looks really interesting to you, gear your resume to match it.
I love that you brought that up. Yeah, because right now at Level Up, a lot of our clients, we're embedding AI phone screening. So before you even speak to a human, you're getting the call from our AI like our screener, who's asking you questions because they're trying to improve the turnaround time of how quickly a hiring leader will get back to you. And so using this tool, it's like you're speaking to those, something automated. And I think Glenn makes a great point that I always tell candidates, also use an AI, like put your resume into ChatGPT and say, I'm applying for this job. Can you help me mirror some of my job responsibilities to what they're looking for? Even if you haven't exactly done that role, like there are ways that you can play with the wording so that you're using, to Glenn's point, like keywords. People are writing those job descriptions, and for the companies that are screening them now through AI tools, you want to make sure that you're ahead of that. But I think to his point, at the end of the day, it's still a position where you're going to be working with other humans. So I would encourage everyone here to add AI into like your skills, learn a platform, but also know that that is just meant to enhance your role. Like I use now AI to enhance what I do. Will it replace some functions? Like, yes, possibly, but I think focusing on just how can I use this to my advantage and being able to step forward in that way.
Two things I'm thinking about is how do we currently use it? So we're also creating a job description when we're opening up for the team. We use our internal AIs. So what some companies have started to do, so a lot of information doesn't get leaked out of the company and we retain it, we create and develop our own. And we have a whole team, an AI team that focuses on that. So that's what we also use. We mirror our verbiage, what does the language of the company look like, and then how do we develop a job description that mirrors that? And that is what I'm sure goes out there to you guys, what you have to look for. So we're also utilizing that tool on an everyday basis, even when we're developing a job description. To your point where you said like, use an AI tool or facilitate that. For example, some companies are archaic, some are not. And like, as someone coming in, I graduated about 2 years ago from a master's in architecture, and it was all fully focused on AI design and how do you amplify, your 3D renderings and stuff like that via AI. So I'm not necessarily doing that, but the thought process I've carried on to my team. So if I am gathering information from 3 different teams, I'm thinking from like, how can I utilize AI to make my life easier, but also diminish the amount of errors that happen? And how do I continue to be more efficient, have more projects, and move forward? So those are 2 ways. So you can use AI and whatever it is that you're using it right now, but it's like the system of thinking that you have to translate over into your job scope. And that no one can take that part away. You can train any AI to do anything that you want it to do. So I think about it also that way. And also know that when you're in a company, they're going to start to build their own AI tools as well that are trademarked only for that company.
I have a question for the ladies.
Oh, double panel.
It's a double one. So, and the question is, social media. Your TikTok page, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, all those kinds of things. Do you ever look at
100%. I would say, I
it?
think
But when do you look at
when we're looking for a candidate and we see their resume, we look at it
Before you've interviewed them?
before.
Okay,
So it depends on the industry. For financial services, we had a situation where it wasn't looked at until when they were about to make him an offer. And he, his TikTok presence was a little bit out of that financial
less
services.
than optimal.
Yeah, and they reject, like they pulled his offer. But we typically not before we bring them in. I think only when we get past the offer stage, the background check.
Okay.
It's typically like, where does anyone know him in the organization? And then I've seen this more in financial services. Some of like the bigger banks that they've then look up their name.
So you guys have used it to
Screen out.
screen out
Yeah.
as opposed to screening in.
Right? Well, in our scenario, yeah.
Even when you're in-house, it's being looked at, which is terrible, but a lot of, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. And like a lot of leaders have been laid off because of it. Like if they're not representing in something, it's so tricky to even measure nowadays, because if you're in PR, that is your job too, so then I guess that's fine. But if you're in something a little bit more different, like our marketing team, it could make or break your deal to stay internal or to get the job, which is something that never existed during our time. So it's
Yeah.
such a different playing field that we're in now, and then we also automatically do it, like we see a resume, we're like, who are they? And we just research their name and it's actually the first thing that comes out, so out of curiosity, we all look.
Yeah.
That's a great question, and actually,
Yeah,
I'll give my two
yeah,
cents
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Because what you brought up is a very interesting thing, and I'm also a coach, so some of my clients in financial services, they do it 100% like you said. They will look ahead and they will say, this person doesn't fit our culture, and they will pull them out. But what I have seen too from my students is that when they are very active, like one of my students who graduated, she landed her full-time job because when she came to NYU back in 2020, she came from China and she actually created a Red Book, right, account. And she kind of logged her experience, whether it was the beginning, or studying remotely and then coming back full time. She was able to garner 10,000 followers. So she actually earned media, and she sold media and earned some money as a result. And she was able to use that as an asset to show potential companies that she was going to interview with us. This is what I can do for you, And that was actually one of the reasons she was able to land her full-time job with a European company.
Great, to that too, because there's like two different, in architecture and art world, and if you're producing something, that's also how you actually get a job. There's a lot of people that are known for their work, their portfolios are posted online, and that is a huge way, that is a positive way for you to get in. Because people admire your work and they're like, we want them, we love them, what else can they do for us? So having your work published online, anything you've written, I think is an amazing way. If I would prefer that versus like your social media, of a way of like connecting online. I think that is utmost, like, at least also you find someone who's aligned with what you want and vice versa.
A lot of times employers will want a writing sample.
Yeah.
You can have one ready to go.
If you have a blog or something.
Yeah.
Your writing style, all of that plays a role. It just, they want to see how you interact in that space and what does your work look like.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I know we have like an additional 15 minutes. So maybe if that's okay with you, let's open it up for some questions.
Hi, I have a question. So going back, you guys mentioned using large language model can help us to improve our resume so that it'll fit the job description more. One thing I realized when I'm hunting for a job is that I feel like it's kind of hard to find a balance point between over exaggerating your resume or showcase like your authenticity. And my question is, is there any recommendation you guys can provide for us to how to balance that? Is there anything we should make sure, for example, for cover letter, should we use AI or not, or?
So I have an opinion that it may be different from the ladies, but when I was looking for a job, I had basically 4 different versions of my resume. And as I was looking for jobs, I was like, I kind of put them, okay, this is kind of one bucket, this is another bucket. I'm good for all of them. So that I'm not customizing my resume for every single, one that I'm gonna apply to. And of course, you're gonna go to your LinkedIn profile, which is gonna be try to cover the bases. One issue that I had, and the job I'm in, I've only been there since January, so I actually got laid off in October a year ago, and so I was, out looking for a job. And for me, my issue is that I have so much experience that I worried that I was going to intimidate people for the kind of job that I wanted to get. And so it is tough. And it kind of at the end of the day, I just had to pick one, and just you put it out there and do the best you can. There was another part of your question, but I forgot.
No, just saying.
Did you have any, you guys?
I want to say I think use AI, but also maybe take a day before you send anything out just to make sure it doesn't sound too robotic. Sometimes I see things, I'm like, okay, we know you're not write this.
Yeah.
And I see it in my emails. Before I send it, I'll wait a day and I realize okay, I use ChatGPT too much. How could I make it sound a little bit? Maybe in this, it's you have your name type, and then in the summary, you can add something that is a little bit more authentic for your roles. I always tell candidates, keep it to 3 to 4 bullet points. Don't make every role 15 bullet points. And just I would take space before you send anything just to reread it and make sure it sounds like a person, especially in a cover letter if you're writing to someone. And obviously the resume, I would limit it and keep it towards things that you have done and use AI to help you mirror that, but don't over exaggerate maybe. And authenticity over a resume is a little bit difficult. So that's where I think a LinkedIn profile could help, a picture just smiling, it's just something that's oh, there's a name, there's a face to a name. I think that helps. And maybe that I would work on the authenticity on a LinkedIn and a summary if you're for example, me Peruvian American this, I'm sharing a little bit of my heritage or culture in my summary.
So are you referring we should showcase more authenticity throughout LinkedIn, while in the resume we should try to be as polished as possible?
Polished, and then if you can add a sentence or two, that could be a little bit more authentic to you. If you're 10, 5 years of experience in marketing with a passion for, I'm making this up, but with a passion for an engineering role, and then you write the resume. But I think a picture can speak about a lot of words as well, and that smile is going to I think also be a good way for people to just see who you are aside from a resume and a cover letter.
Yeah, and I'll just add that sometimes is especially the more experience you gain at the beginning after your name, write a couple of sentences and write a little story, who are you? So right, so
Yeah.
you don't just jump into here's where I go to school, etc. Take 2, 3 sentences and write a little bit, and that gives you the opportunity to be more authentic.
The voice that you use for your resume is going to appeal to different kinds of people. I've seen resumes where somebody actually made it was funny. I loved it. And I called them immediately for an interview. Some people don't like that. And people have asked me if I'm going to be discriminated against because I'm X. And it's I don't know, maybe, but what are you gonna do? I mean, I'm old, I can't change that. So,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you have in the past, had AI screen calls for interviewees. Do interviewees typically know that that's happening, and how do you best prepare for talking to AI?
Yeah, it's a new feature that some companies are testing out and modeling. Not all of our clients do it, but some are. Candidates are disclosed beforehand, you will get a call from our AI screener, Joe, let's say. And as far as preparation, those first screens, because it is AI, it is very straight to the point questions. Are you comfortable with the schedule? how many years of experience do you have? It's things not around your personality. It's more like, are you comfortable with the salary? Are you comfortable that it's remote or in person? And are you comfortable with the hours and that you may have to work weekends? Like, I'm making that up. So it isn't a long screening from what I'm seeing, at least. It's like short 5-10 minutes. And then if you meet the requirements that you're comfortable, and the reason why they're also doing that is because one job opening can get like 500 applicants or 300 applicants. And sometimes people don't even read the job description. So they're like applying for a role as a nurse, but they don't even have a nursing degree. Like, it's, so that's another reason why that tool is being implemented, because hiring managers want to get right to the candidates that are qualified, have the license if they need it, education if they need it, and they can commit to the hours.
And
So
answer the
you're saying
phone.
like straight to the point.
Yeah, like very basic, exactly. Nothing like personality wise that AI is gonna pick up on. That would be like then the second screen.
Hi, so I have two questions. The first is regarding the resume, because you mentioned that you prefer more creative resumes, which makes sense for creative roles. But since AI is screening those resumes, I'm worried that maybe the AI won't pick up on, like, if it's not like the regular basic version, that it won't pick up of like some keywords that it needs to pick up, and it might not be able to recognize it correctly, and this might be like not good. You won't get like an invite for an interview. And also regarding like the resume part, creative roles usually require a portfolio. So I would love if you can like expand a little bit from your experience screening portfolios and stuff like that, and what you're looking for in a portfolio.
I can say one thing, not the portfolio thing, but the AI applications and other applications, you have to make sure that the characters are recognizable. So they use, it's an OCR, so it's optical character recognition that reads the text. And so if you have, like, say, a graphic that you're relying on the text in the graphic, it may not pick it up. So use, as long as there's text in there, whether it's a PDF or a Word version, as long as there's text, it'll pick it up. And so, your picture is a graphic, and it's probably not going to do anything with it per se.
I ran into the same issue because I always wanted to PDF, customize. I made my resume on InDesign. And then from learning from Diana, we have to do it on Word. So perhaps you have a Word alternative format, and then in your portfolio include whatever, if you use Illustrator, InDesign, the version that you would want. So then you have your identity in your portfolio. That would be number one. Number two, what to include in your portfolio. Yes, a vast number of maybe top 4 projects max, because people are looking through so many portfolios, but it's like different style of work. Even when you apply for grad school, I'm sure if you were in a creative field, you may have to include a portfolio. So maybe your biggest amount of work, and then you go into details of like different pieces, but they all have to tell a different story. It's all about, again, a mindset of thinking. How does this person think? Can they, if they create something like this, and maybe they create something like that. So look at the work of the company that you're applying for and see if you have something within your portfolio that can mirror that. And if you don't, can you adjust a little bit? Can you edit some things, which is the glory of like working in creative. So I would say, but your first project, if it's the only thing they're going to look at and make might be the first or second page, should be your best, more refined. And then you go in detail and make sure that whatever text or copy you include are like exactly keywords that if someone reads it that knows nothing about the project can understand. That would be like my 2 words of advice.
Great, and then in closing, and I'm sure we'll send kind of LinkedIn information for everyone for you guys to connect. But in closing, in the world of branding, because everyone needs to stand out, like what is one piece of recommendation or advice that you recommend all the students today?
What kind of branding, like social media branding or like?
Anything, in terms of whether it's LinkedIn or even in-person introduction, I guess, as you see people looking for jobs, how do you, what advice do you have for them in order to stand out, whether it's a conversation, LinkedIn, et cetera?
We'll come back to
Anyway. Yeah.
Creativity. I love it. And like I said, if you can make it funny, it doesn't have to be the whole thing, but there's a line or two in there that's funny. I think, I bet this person's fun to work with. And there's serious parts of it also. It's like I do the work, but I also have fun with it. It's like, I want to work with that person. That's just me.
We at work, we recently been told to look at a Harvard Business Review article, building your personal brand. If you can find it, I'll share the link with you so that you can share with everyone. There's a podcast episode and also a PDF. I think that is super useful of how you enter a space. What do you want to be remembered by? If there's one thing, like be creative. So now I know that that's your thing. And you're kind of already built your personal brand based on that. So if there's one word that you want people to leave with every time you meet them, even if it's like 5-minute conversation, have that as like your goal every time you go out, networking, meeting someone new, because they're like, oh my God, I remember she's creative. I may ask her a question, I may need help. And they will remember you based on that. But I'll share the link for sure.
Yeah.
It's a little bit long, but super useful.
I love that. I always tell candidates, if you mess up during the interview and you leave anything from that interview, people often forget what you say, but they'll always remember how you make them feel. So I've had interviews with people when they're distracted, they don't know my name or they don't know the like there's just, you might think these are basic things, but how you make someone feel, their connection, like, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here today. Would love to learn about you, and practice it before the interview.
Yeah.
Sit in your room. I do this for things that even, opportunities that I try for, like, aside from the interview in person, practice saying it out loud, and just the energy and that presence that you bring is part of your brand. And using every opportunity as like a learning lesson. Okay, I didn't feel good about that one, or oh, that woman kind of made me feel, a certain way. And okay, what could I do differently next time? Use it as like experiences, but I think your presence and how someone feels after you walk out of that room is something that I definitely remember.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And I tell candidates sometimes in the interviews, like, it's even language. I'm excited. This is so, like, it's, you
Yes.
can, read on more of that, but just how do I use words to demonstrate that I am interested in this position, the company, and then also doing obviously your research with like who you're meeting with, in the interview.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to kind of reiterate that, because one of the top reasons that managers share that why they would not make an offer to someone is that the candidate is not hungry enough. Like literally, they want somebody who is willing and interested to work with them. So just, even during a meet and greet, just really sharing, again, doing the pre-work, understanding the company. So many times people come to me and they're like, so what do you do? I'm like, you should really know already that, so why are you asking me? If you know you're talking to, right, this hiring manager, this company, do your research, right? That's why, we have Google, Perplexity, all of these amazing tools. Find out, right, what they do. Even better, go to YouTube, or, I think YouTube is the best way. Find out if they have had guest appearances, videos where you can see them talk, you can see their personality. A lot of the work that we have to do when we're interviewing is mirroring the energy of the other person. So as Diana mentioned, lean in if they're excited. Again, have that same demeanor, because you want to make sure that you leave that room or that conversation with the other person thinking, I want to work with them. They will be great in the team. And I think actually we have time for one more question. So anybody? Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, thank you so much for your advice thus far. My name is Natalie, and I wanted to ask about how to pivot in your career. So for example, for myself, I've been working in banking and finance for a while, but I want to pivot into working in marketing, perhaps for an agency. So how do I curate my resume, my experiences, perhaps even my cover letter, to appeal to those new types of roles?
So question, in your role now, when you look up marketing roles, is there anything that you're like, I kind of did this, or I've done this, or is it everything's new? Like you're like, I would have to learn this role. Like when you're just looking up roles in marketing or the kind of things you want to do.
There are a few like little points, but I wouldn't say like the whole thing encapsulates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, I think something that Evelyn shared earlier as far as like contract work, when we're looking at candidates, and if someone's coming from a different industry, you bring professional experience, so that's a plus. But sometimes companies, if they're like, okay, we might have to train this person, then they might want to consider you starting off in like a shorter term contract. If they're like, you're hungry to learn, you want to make a pivot, one. Two, I would say, since you already have experience, I would also reach out to people in LinkedIn who are doing these roles. Hi, my name is Diana. I am looking to make a pivot into marketing. Would love to see if I can grab like 5-10 minutes for a virtual coffee about the best way that I could transition into this field. Because a lot of people, I do this for myself in different fields as well. People answer like, hi, like I'll connect you with this person. I think for you, it's about networking and trying to gauge like, how does your company hire for marketing? Would they look at someone with like my experience? So looking at either like the agency route, if not the route of if you already have skills that you think are transferable, or if not, I think like leveraging LinkedIn to make connections about getting people to talk about what they do, which I think people do like I love when people reach out to me and they're like, can I just learn about your career? I'm like, sure, so I think reaching out and understanding and learning about the industry you're trying to get into and like bridging connections.
Also too, from banking to marketing is not so far apart. So like in marketing, you're also like managing a brand, managing an industry, and it's like you're kind of a business owner in a way, right? So same way how you would manage investments and everything else. So it's just like a fancy title to do something a little bit for a brand, but if anything, you're translating kind of the same skills. So for us, how do you build a brand? We do a lot of things with numbers. Everything is like, what is my return on investment?
Yeah.
If it works, then I can do X, Y, Z more creative. So it's like, actually, that's like really strong backgrounds, and you can use it as like a leverage because a lot of people don't have a background in investment banking. And now everything is about budget, tariffs, we're cutting costs on everything. So I think always pivoting is your upper hand. I pivoted too. I started in international trade. Now I'm in, architecture. So it's a little bit of both, but I'm using my background from before. And now I have a team where I educate them on my both worlds. And you're seen as an asset because some people just start from marketing and then work their way up. And that's the only thing they know, but you have something different to offer. So I think look at it too.
Great.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
I have one little thing, real brief. When you do your resume, show it to somebody else and ask them, is this a banking person or a marketing person? And if they go, oh yeah, this is a marketing person who worked in banking. As opposed to this is a banking person who doesn't know what they want to do.
Great. Thank you.